Welcome, and thank you for tuning into the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. I'm your host, Ralph Owens, along with Terry Baylor. In today's episode, we'll cover topics such as how metrics are a way of measuring what you manage, why learning the language of what you do is critical to your success, the power in the exchange of value, and using metrics to track your performance. Enjoy the show. Couple points that come to mind too for me is we've said it before in the past. You cannot manage what you do not measure, right? So these metrics are a way of measuring the very thing that you have been hired to manage. And if you're not measuring what you manage, then you really don't know if you're winning or if you're losing, right? So that's an important point to reiterate. And then it's also important to understand when you are creating your KPIs and you're creating your dashboards and you're measuring your numbers, how that fits into the overall goal and strategy of the organization, right? So maybe you're counting those, going back to the M&M example, maybe you've been hired to examine and count these M&Ms because the M&Ms, the green M&Ms have been rated as the most favorite. And they want to make sure that they have enough good round M&Ms included in each package, right? So you have to go one step beyond what it is you do and understand why you're doing it, right? So that's very important because when you start to display your metrics, when you start to display your numbers, you talk to how you are able to help achieve the company's goals by executing and performing this way. That makes sense. Any thoughts on that, Terry?
No, I think it's great, right? Because here's the deal. You have to talk the language of the people that you're trying to move.
Absolutely.
Right? Let me understand one of the things, right? And I'm always going to bring in some home remedy, right? So, we were homeschoolers. And one of the first things that I learned in the classical conversation format of homeschooling is to learn the language. Learn the language. This right here is a life lesson. Learn the language of anything that you're doing. If you learn the language first,
it's good.
Everything from there, man, it's just going to be a much easier process.
So
learn
true.
what the terms are, right? Learn what the acronyms mean, right? And if you can tie into the language of that business owner, right, of that business unit, tie into the language, that will move you further than the tactical aspect of it, right? Because now you can relate, right?
So true.
I can talk to you right where you are. I can it will give you the ability to empathize with them. It will give you the ability to galvanize, right? Come together. It will increase your understanding. And here's the other thing it will do for you. It's a method of translation, right? If you understand their language, you can now take what you know technically, right? And convert it to meet their need. It's understanding the language of anything. And you know what? Like I said, it's always a church, a Bible study in this, right? You got to know God's language.
Come on, preacher.
You see what I'm saying, right? Even look. He says the kingdom of heaven is like this. What is he doing? He's actually translating because he understands where we are, but he's talking in a way that uses analogies that we understand,
right,
to help us understand what heaven is like.
Yes.
So, in a sense, you can help your business unit understand what business heaven is like.
That's right. There you go.
You see what I'm saying? But you got to understand the language.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Ralph?
So here's a great correlation to that. The whole time you were talking, all I kept thinking about was music. When you understand the language of music,
yes,
so you can have a person who is just, they've learned how to play or they learn how to sing just basically on their own, but they don't know anything about the language of music. And you get in a situation where you are with some very high caliber professionals who understand the language. And you don't know, you just know how to, produce a sound, but you don't know when. You don't know how hard, how soft, when to
Mm,
pause, right? You don't
mm.
understand the language.
Yes.
You basically are fighting against what is naturally being presented to you
Oh,
because you
that's
don't understand the language. That's
Oh,
good.
that is real good. And just to take the music analogy a step further, right? Because of course, we've talked about Marcus on the last episodes, and we talk about that quite a bit inside of what he's doing, because inside of music, there's language inside of the
Yeah.
language of music, right? And
Yes.
we have reggae,
Hmm.
we have gospel, you have rock,
Hmm.
you have
Hmm.
jazz. And
Hmm.
so, we've seen it, right? You will take a guy who's fluent in one aspect
Hmm.
and then you put him in another genre
Hmm.
and it's like, oh, this guy doesn't understand the language.
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes. Oh, we can go down the rabbit hole on this one because I'm particularly close to that because I tell my wife all the time that when you listen to skillful musicians play, they're having a conversation, and if you listen hard enough, you can hear it, right?
Yes.
Especially the drummer and the bass player, right? There's a language, there's a
Yeah.
conversation, that's
Yeah.
happening there. But
There
I,
is.
I, I won't belabor. I won't
But
belabor.
you but you know what? But here's the thing though. Here's the thing about that though. I think we should dig into that a little bit
Mm,
because of all of the relationships that it's one of the most intimate within music.
it is. It
And
really is.
and so I believe it's important to at least deal with that because there are times in business, right, where there is a big initiative happening.
Hmm.
And we're not talking intimate from the standpoint of, you got to know the person's business and what I mean, personal business and things like that. But we're talking the intimacy of the organization
Hmm.
and how they move, right? What is the character
Hmm.
of the organization? What is the what influences this organization? What motivates the leader of that organization? Those
Hmm.
are all intimate things,
Hmm.
right? And when you get into the language of what it is that business unit or that business leader is trying to do,
Hmm.
you will connect at an intimate level with them where they see you. And we love this word here. They will see you as a partner,
Hmm. Yes.
right? We're in business, we're all looking for partners. And we've dealt with this, right? There are
Hmm.
5 categories, right? We said there are contacts, associates,
Hmm.
partners, mentors, and mentees.
Hmm.
What is that partner trying to do? Help you get where you want to get,
Hmm.
sacrificing their wants and needs, right? To
Right.
help promote your wants and needs. Understanding though, right? Here's where the complexity comes in that is it's an exchange of value.
Yes. Yes. So
All
good.
because you have understand the language and
Hmm.
you can tie those language to key performance indicators to help them and you
Hmm.
express the story.
That's good. That is good. That is really good. So defining your KPIs, which transitions directly into the next point of have you been tracking? So once you
Mm,
define, then you have to track, right? My team and I track once a month. Once a month, we're coming together. We're looking at all of our key performance indicators in the dashboard, and we're talking about, okay, what did we expect to happen? What really did happen? And if there's a variance between the two, what caused it? Was it a one off? Was
mm.
it a trend that we're seeing over time that requires some due diligence around how to change that? Right? The tracking of the numbers is just as important as defining what the KPIs are. Because if you're not tracking the numbers against your performance on a regular routine basis and making changes to move in the direction of your goal, then you're basically just churning. You're just on the gerbil wheel and you're not going anywhere. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Terry?
No, man, you just challenged me because, we have some teams and, um, that I help do that with. And, you know what? I think that'll be something that I want to implement, right? And really start asking those guys the questions, right? Especially when
Hmm.
I do see a variance,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And to help them understand and drive, hey, what? What do you think was happening here?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
no, I think you're spot on, right? It's one thing to have the number,
Right.
right? But it's another thing to let the number drive action,
That's it.
right?
That's it.
And to set the expectation that we are reviewing these numbers, and this is
Hmm.
just not an exercise
That's right.
so we can roll this up and bubble this up to the board. No, we are
Hmm.
actually using this as a method
Hmm.
to actually get better.
Yeah. Yeah. To drive performance. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. We hope that you not only enjoyed the content, but gained something to help you on your personal leadership journey. Feel free to reach out to us on X and Instagram under the handles Leadership Sovereignty. Until next time, stay safe, peace, and blessings.